Quavo, Takeoff, they was down here with y'all. But they seen you walking by. He's laying on the ground. You got Mike bending down, and they seen you walking by. What took place there?
This the crazy thing about that video, right?
This is a problem, Jay Prince, and I'm gonna tell you like this: if you're 60 years old and you trying to be a street you failed. You failed. I'm telling you this.
Something really serious just happened, and now the entire rap music world is talking about it. This isn't just the normal arguing you sometimes see online. This is a real major fight. It's the kind of big problem that had been building up secretly for a while, like a storm cloud getting darker, until it finally burst open. The whole thing started when a rapper named Mase did something that shocked everyone. He shared a recording of a private phone conversation. This wasn't just any call. It was between two other very important people in the music scene, Jay Prince and the late Takeoff. Nobody expected to ever hear this private talk, so it felt like Mase dropped a bomb on everyone. Because of this, Jay Prince is completely freaking out. He is losing his cool and is incredibly angry. He is sending out a lot of threats to people and is desperately trying to do whatever he can to fix the situation and control the damage to his reputation. Everything feels really chaotic and tense right now.
Hey, man. Yeah, man. We got a little bit of straightening going on. You feel me?
But Mase was not scared at all. He didn't quiet down or try to hide. Instead, he came back with an even stronger response. He started saying all the bad things about Jay Prince that people have been quietly talking about for years. Everyone was afraid to say these things in public, but Mase wasn't afraid anymore. This was a really big deal because it was the first time someone important, who people actually believe, decided to stand up and say that he was not going to put up with it any longer. He basically said, "This has to stop now." Because of all this, the entire music community and the streets are going wild with discussion. People are talking about this nonstop. A big part of the reason everyone is so upset is connected to the death of Takeoff, which is still a very sad and confusing mystery. The way he died never felt right to a lot of people. There are so many unanswered questions about that night. People say there is important security camera footage from where it happened that has gone missing. Also, there are witnesses who saw what happened, but they refuse to talk about it or tell the police what they know. And in the middle of all these rumors and questions, two specific names keep being mentioned over and over again whenever people whisper about what might have really happened. Those two names are Jay Prince Jr. and DJ Pat.
And I'm going to tell you another thing. When you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little like the way you talk it. I don't get what you mean. We're not your little like for real.
This new private phone call that was released changes the whole situation completely. If the things Mase is saying are actually true, then Jay Prince isn't just guilty of having a bad reputation or saying the wrong things. He might be trying to hide something much bigger and much worse that happened behind the scenes. Right now, the internet is filling up with posts and comments from angry people. They are calling Jay Prince a fake, saying he only pretends to be a leader who helps his community. They are also accusing him of being a fixer who solves problems for dangerous people, almost like in a movie about drug cartels, and they are saying he might have blood on his hands. People are very, very upset. They are bringing up rumors that he has connections to organized crime groups. Everyone is demanding that he give them real answers, and they are saying that it is finally time for the whole truth about everything to come out. You see, before all this, Mase had been staying out of trouble. He was being quiet and just taking care of his own life without getting involved in any drama. But that all changed when Jay Prince went on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. On the show, Prince started making sneaky, indirect comments that were meant as insults towards Mase. For Mase, that was the final straw. He decided he wasn't going to hold back anymore. Mase and his friend Cameron had stayed silent for many months about all the messy business that happened in Houston. They never talked about it, but when Prince made those comments on the podcast, he crossed a line that Mase couldn't ignore. According to what Mase himself said, he heard a recording of a phone call. In this call, Jay Prince was supposedly talking to the rapper Takeoff just a few hours before Takeoff was killed. And Mase says that the things Prince was saying to Takeoff didn't sound like a friendly, big brother type of conversation. Instead, Mase claims that Prince was putting pressure on Takeoff and questioning whether Takeoff was being loyal to him, all about problems that were happening behind the scenes where the public couldn't see.
You wasn't really right there with Takeoff when he was alive, you know what I mean? So
the kind of pressure talk that was happening on that call is the type that usually leads to a bad ending. This wasn't a situation where two people were just having a respectful disagreement. The feeling in the conversation was all about tension. It was about one person trying to have power and control over the other. The whole thing had a feeling of bad energy, and it seemed like something terrible was going to happen. And here is the part of the story that really shocked and upset everyone. This phone call that Mase says he heard supposedly took place on the very same night that Takeoff was killed outside that bowling alley in Houston. Everyone remembers the story about what happened that night. There was a dice game, which is a game people play with dice for money. An argument started, then guns were fired, and tragically, Takeoff was killed. He was only 28 years old. He was known as one of the most loved and most peaceful rappers in the entire music industry. After Mase spoke out and told everyone about this private call, J. Prince completely lost his temper. He immediately jumped online and started sending out messages that were like hidden threats. He also strongly repeated the things he had said before. He made shady comments about the rapper Offset, suggesting that Offset wasn't a good friend to Takeoff while Takeoff was still alive. He even repeated the same mean statement, saying directly to Offset, "You wasn't really there with Takeoff when he was alive." That one line from J. Prince, where he told Offset, "You wasn't really there," caused a huge explosion of anger online. Offset immediately fired back with his own response. His wife, Cardi B, also jumped into the argument to defend him, showing everyone that she wasn't scared at all of Prince's rumored connections to dangerous people. But by that time, it was already too late for Prince to calm people down. The general public and the music community had already made up their minds and turned against him. One fan posted a comment on the social media site X that really summed up the feeling. They wrote, "Nobody respects J. Prince after Takeoff died on his watch," meaning that people felt Prince was responsible for what happened the night Takeoff was killed. That one comment perfectly captured how almost everyone on the internet was feeling. After that, people started looking more closely at the old details of Takeoff's death. They began connecting different pieces of information and realizing that a lot of things about the official story just didn't make sense. For example, they started asking questions about the man who was arrested for the shooting, DJ Pat. He had been given a bond set at $1 million, which is an enormous amount of money. But then, he was able to pay it and walk out of jail incredibly fast. This made a lot of people wonder how that was possible. To most people, it seemed like someone that powerful must have been helping him from behind the scenes. The big question on everyone's mind was, who can pay $1 million in cash and walk away from jail so easily and so quickly? Fans started to wonder who could have helped DJ Pat get out of jail so quickly, and everyone began looking again at J. Prince and the group of people he is always with. Then, the situation became even more strange. News reports came out saying that J. Prince Jr., who is J. Prince's son, had asked for his name to be taken off of DJ Pat's official court paperwork for the bond. This made people ask a lot of questions. They were all together on the night that Takeoff was killed, so why would J. Prince Jr. suddenly want to legally separate himself from DJ Pat? It made it seem like he was trying to protect himself or someone else from being connected to the crime. And that wasn't the only weird thing that happened. Another person connected to their group, a man named Cameron Joshua, who people also know as Lil Cam Fifth, and who is part of the same record label called Mob Ties Records, was also arrested right after Takeoff's death. He was arrested for having a weapon illegally. It started to feel like a pattern, where every time something bad happens and someone gets hurt when they are with that group, the same few names keep coming up over and over again. The people from Mob Ties Records often try to act like they are the ones who are being treated unfairly, but the public is starting to see through that, and they are no longer believing it. People are now remembering that there was a big warning sign before Takeoff was even killed. Everyone remembers what happened to Duke the jeweler. He was a famous jewelry maker who flew into Houston, and just like others, he went to see the Mob Ties group. He played dice with them, and then he ended up dead. It was the same kind of situation, a private dice game that turned deadly, followed by the same kind of silence from the people who were there. And once again, J. Prince's name was being mentioned in the background of that tragedy. There was even a video clip from that night where J. Prince was heard telling his own security guards to step back and leave the area. This made a lot of people very suspicious, as it seemed like everything was too planned and organized. People online started putting the pieces together and saying, "There's a pattern now." They described the pattern like this. Rich artists are invited to Houston. They're told they have to check in with the Mob Ties group. They play dice. Then an argument suddenly breaks out. Someone ends up dead. And afterwards, the same kind of sad speech is posted online talking about black-on-black violence and how grief is the price of love. People are honestly tired of hearing that same explanation. They are asking the tough question, where were you when the actual violence happened and blood was on the ground? To make things even worse, not a single person from the Prince family showed up to Takeoff's funeral. This was seen as a huge sign of disrespect, and it made fans wonder, maybe they didn't come because they knew too much about what really happened. Later, J. Prince Jr. posted a strange message online that said, "Don't wear jewelry around vultures." But fans were angry and replied to him saying, if you already knew the situation was dangerous and the vibes were bad, then why did you even bring Takeoff and the others to that place to begin with?
And I'm going to tell you another thing. When you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little like the way you talking. I don't get what you mean. We're not your little
People are asking a very important question. If the rule that you have to check in with J. Prince's group when you come to Houston doesn't actually keep people safe, then what is the point of it? On the night Takeoff was killed, the rapper Quavo was reportedly having an argument with J. Prince Jr. right before the gunshots started. And in videos from after the shooting, Prince is seen acting like nothing serious had happened, just brushing off the whole terrible event. This made people very angry. It seemed cold-hearted and made him look guilty in the eyes of the public. That cold reaction is what finally pushed Mase to speak up. After he heard J. Prince making sneaky comments about him on a podcast, Mase had enough. He went live and fired back, saying strongly, "We are not your little." That line was powerful and felt very real. He was speaking for everyone who ever felt controlled or bullied by J. Prince's system over the years. When Mase's friend, Cameron, sat right next to him and stayed completely silent, it showed that he agreed with everything Mase was saying without even having to say a word. Fans believe that Mase had known about a secret, leaked phone call for a while, and was just waiting for the right time to reveal it. When he finally did, the whole internet went crazy. The feeling around the situation changed very quickly. The rapper Offset had been quiet all this time, but when J. Prince started saying that Offset was never a good friend to Takeoff, that was the final straw for him. Offset responded with a lot of emotion, calling out the disrespect. His wife, Cardi B, immediately jumped in to support him. When Cardi gets involved, she is always serious. She called out J. Prince's group directly on social media, making it clear that she and her husband were not scared of his street reputation. That's when people realized this fight was not just about music industry drama anymore. It had become very personal. Suddenly, the image that J. Prince had built for years started to fall apart. He had always been seen as a respected elder who kept peace in Houston. But now, fans were seeing a different side of him. The same man who claimed to keep order was now at the center of chaos, and the people he was supposed to protect were ending up dead. Things got even worse when other famous people started to quietly distance themselves from him. Drake, who became famous with the help of Prince's son, completely stopped posting anything about Prince's group online. There were no shout-outs, no reposts, just total silence. This was a huge sign that something was wrong. There were also rumors that the very famous rapper Jay-Z had been ignoring all messages from the Prince family. Powerful business people like this don't want their billion-dollar companies to be connected to street drama or police investigations. This is when the whole idea of checking in started to seem pointless and dangerous. For a long time, artists were made to feel like they had to tell Prince's group when they came to Houston. It was supposed to be for their own safety. But what kind of safety is it when two famous people, Duke the jeweler and Takeoff, both died after they checked in? Fans started a movement online saying, "This is why no one checks in anymore." They realized the check-in was just a way for Prince to show his power, not a way to actually protect anyone. Then, Mase called Jay Prince a failed street boss, and that comment spread everywhere. People began to see Prince not as a legend, but as someone who had lost control. But the story gets even darker when you ask about the witnesses. There were over 40 people outside the bowling alley when the shots were fired, but almost no one came forward to tell the police what they saw. The word on the street is that they were either threatened or paid to stay quiet. The craziest theory is that Takeoff wasn't even the target of the argument. Some people say Jay Prince Jr. was arguing with Quavo, and Takeoff was just standing nearby. This makes people think his death might have been a terrible accident or a warning that went very wrong. Now, everyone is wondering about the private phone call Mase mentioned. The story is that the call between Prince and Takeoff was recorded. If that recording is real and it ever gets released to the public, it could change everything. If it proves that Prince was threatening Takeoff, his entire reputation and business could be destroyed overnight. Mase is a dangerous person for Prince because he is one of the few people who isn't scared to stay silent. He can't be bought with money or scared with threats. All this talk has made people wonder if the police might start investigating Prince's group. Federal investigators don't care about rap gossip. They care about patterns of crime, money trails, and organized setups. With all the strange details, like the quick bail, the missing security footage, and the silent witnesses, there is a lot for them to look into. Through all of this chaos, the one thing people keep thinking about is Takeoff himself. He was the quiet, talented member of his group who never looked for drama. He was a real artist who was loved and respected by everyone. The fact that his life was cut short at a dice game surrounded by people who were supposed to be protecting him is what breaks everyone's heart. Fans feel that his memory is being lost in all the conspiracies, while the people who should have had his back are only worried about protecting themselves. Jay Prince posted a poetic message online after the shooting that said, "Grief is the price of love." But people didn't want pretty words. They wanted someone to take responsibility. They wanted to know why the people in charge that night never fully explained what happened. Instead, they just released confusing statements and podcast rants. By speaking up, Mase broke down the wall of silence. He forced everyone to look at the facts, the strange bail money, the secret phone call, the missing witnesses, and the fear that has controlled parts of Houston for too long. That fear is now starting to crack. People are finally feeling brave enough to talk. This story is no longer just about one rapper against another. It's a story about power, control, and what happens when someone who seemed untouchable for decades starts to lose their grip. If that secret recording is ever released, it won't just be a big news story, it could destroy a legacy. Through all the noise, the main thing people are saying is that they want justice for Takeoff. They don't want revenge or more gossip, they want closure. His family deserves answers. The fact that this is still a mystery years later shows how complicated and deep the problem is. But one thing is clear, the truth always comes out eventually, no matter how hard people try to bury it. Jay Prince can't use public relations to talk his way out of this, and he can't scare people into being quiet forever. Too many people are watching now. Too many people are speaking up. What Mase did was more than an insult. It was a warning that the old rules don't work anymore. It showed that even the most powerful people can be held accountable. The world is watching to see what happens next. When power changes hands in the music world, it never happens quietly. One leaked secret can destroy an empire. And right now, Jay Prince's empire is shaking. The fear is fading, the silence is breaking, and people are finally speaking up for Takeoff, loud and clear.